People don't realize that baking, um, catering, all running a restaurant, all of those things involve math. And so, even though they don't have anything to do with engineering or anything technical, it still involves math. So, from a business perspective, this will give you some ideas about how to run a business, but in a way that's going to be fun because you're actually going to be doing something that's going to generate some food. So, it's going to be a fun experience. The twinkle, twinkle, little star, you're going to build a circuit and you're going to be able to design your own constellation. You're going to make your own microscope. So you saw that picture at the beginning with the fibers. You'll be able to see that. And think about the fact that today we can make a microscope out of cardboard. If they knew that back in 1918 when the first flu virus hit, they might have been able to see that something was going on, but they didn't. So think about the advances in technology that we've had that enabled us to get to the point where we could actually detect malaria using a cardboard microscope for less than $3 a piece. It's amazing. And then strawberries, we're going to learn about DNA. Who knew they had DNA? Just like we have DNA, right? So I think these are, I talked a little bit about the raise your hands and voices. That's really going to talk about being a woman in STEM and why there aren't more women in STEM and what we can do as individuals to help change that. The Tokamak, for those of you who've never heard of it, the Tokamak is a torus that is typically in a round configuration, and they run plasma through that torus at very high speeds such that it generates enough force to create fusion. It fuses and creates energy, not creates energy, because energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it gathers it in a way that you can actually use it for power. And then preparing for a STEM future. This may be more for your parents. It's really to talk about the kinds of things that your daughters may need to be prepared for, subjects that they might want to take, how you can go about. Maybe going to university is not an option for you. Maybe community college is a better option for you. And so this will help you find your path. And from my perspective, I was a machinist. That was my very, very first real job. And it's what helped me find my way into engineering. So there's nothing that says that that is not also an option for some of you, that you couldn't take the route and do something in the trades and then switch to a different science field. But I did it because it made me a decent living for putting in the same amount of time. I made more money than if I was going to be a retail clerk. And so it was more valuable to me to have to do that. And then we're going to learn about the Rubik's Cube. So this is what the campers told us that they would have done last year if they didn't go to virtual camp. I like the one that said, I would have made food and got fat. I don't think she realized that, now this year she probably did make food and get fat, because many of us put on the COVID corpulence, I think they call it, because we weren't able to pay attention. And this is what the coaches said. This is what I would have done last year. I would sleep. Very common, right? That's a common one. But this year is not going to be a whole lot different yet. You're going to probably be able to camp or golf with a few people. So you'll be able to do things with your pods. We, in fact, did get some instruction related to the camps that are going to have to be running this year, or that are going to be running, not our camp, but other camps from the CDC. And it's going to be some pretty strict guidelines. And I'm not sure we would have had a whole lot of fun if we had to implement those guidelines at an in-person camp this year. So if you need to get in touch with me, I've also shared this for everybody in your registration. These are my contact details. If you want a little bit more information about the camp and what's included, I'm sending you to the internal TechTrek site, which also has a button that you can select that will enable you to participate in one of our Zoom sessions on Fridays. So at this point in time, I'm encouraging any of the registrants or their parents, if they have specific questions. I will be setting up a session for girls who have Chromebooks and their parents to make sure that we are all lined up and we know what we need to do if we have Chromebooks. So that's about all I have. Oh, you're on mute, Lorraine.
Thanks, Mary. That was great.
Good.
I know Mary runs a great Zoom session to answer questions. So I was wondering if there isn't an urgent question. If you have an urgent question, please put it in the chat. But if you can wait till you can join Mary's Zoom,
or you can send me an email.
I suggest that. So Teresa, is there any urgent questions? And perhaps you can stop. We can go back and do the share screen here.
There is no questions.
Yay.
And so the next thing that, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so very quickly, we'll just move through this. We're very excited this year because our Mar-Leucadia AAU groups have decided that we're going to join the rush and start a TechTrek alumni group. And we've got two great people who are doing the trailblazing part of putting it together. They're both in San Diego High School. They'll be year of 2023, and both Nayeli on the left and Sydney on the right were 2018 TechTrek campers. And I'd like Nayeli to just tell us, introduce herself very quickly. Thank you, Nayeli.
Hello, I'm Nayeli. Miss Lorraine said I'm 2018 TechTrek camper, and I go to San Diego High School Academy. And before TechTrek, I can honestly say I did not enjoy STEM. I never looked forward to any of my science classes. I didn't enjoy any of it. And then, so I was like a little bit wary going into it. But then I got to see a lot of people and I got to do a lot of different things. And I was working in architecture during the camp, and it ended up being a lot of fun. And I ended up learning a lot. And then just through my favorite part of the camp was this one presentation. And it was a chemist who just did small experiments with us. But I still, like to this day, I still remember that presentation because it really made me think like, oh, that's cool. And like from now on, I'm like taking chemistry classes and I'm looking for more ways to do more chemistry. And so it's just TechTrek for me was like a real eye-opener to what STEM could really be and how interesting it could be. And like now I decided to get more involved. So I'm currently working in the robotics team, the same robotics team as Romy earlier. And I'm the president for one of the branches, and I'm the treasurer. And then I just do a lot of other STEM related things now. And it's just, yeah, that's how like TechTrek kind of affected me, and I would love it to have the same effect on all of you.
Thank you very much, Nayeli. And I know that Nayeli did her AP chemistry test yesterday, so she took that chemistry program seriously. Sydney Ryan is our second person who is helping to set up TTAG. Sydney, would you like to talk a little bit about your experience?
Yes, I would. Hello, my name is Sydney. One of my favorite parts of TechTrek, I was also getting to listen to the guest speakers talk about their jobs, just because it really helped me connect the activities we were doing during TechTrek to the real world, and from there, the effect of STEM aspects in everyday life. And so after listening to some of the guest speakers during TechTrek, I wanted to explore the different paths that they talked about, and I'm currently doing that right now by working with my school's robotics program, the same one as Nayeli. I got to lead a challenge last year where we solved problems and created solutions for issues in our community. And it was amazing getting to take what I learned from the guest speakers and apply it to real life. And it was also just amazing to meet the other girls my age who were interested in STEM, because they all had such diverse ideas, and being able to be surrounded by them was really inspiring. When I attended TechTrek, we were separated into groups, and I wasn't in the engineering group, but through connections with other campers, my interest in it really grew, and then I ended up trying it. And now Nayeli and I not only are leading the alumni group, but we're planning on running for president of our entire robotics team next year. So it was just amazing to have that support and inspiration from TechTrek, and we want to be able to provide that for future generations of girls, which leads us to the next slide. So in order to create or to continue the support and interest that hopefully grows as you attend TechTrek, Nayeli and I are leading an alumni group, and you're automatically registered for this when you attend TechTrek. It doesn't cost any money. But our goal in doing this is to create a community of girls who can work together to do things such as continue involvement in TechTrek by volunteering and potentially getting paid, and also working with the community to help plan and organize STEM events and social events. And Nayeli will talk more about that.
Nayeli?
So the biggest thing that we want out of this group is not only opportunities to discuss STEM more and like different things, we also would like a community, a sense of community, which I think is like really important, and it's a really big thing that you get out of the camp. And so we wanted to start off like with something that would be fun and that would get everybody together and talking. So what we've done so far is discuss how we want to go about that and what we want the future of the group to be. And so we've also discussed about having a game night, which is how we want to kick everything off and just have fun and a lot of different games with everybody so that we can sort of get to know each other and then get more prepared to dive into other things. Sorry about the noise. And so our next steps for now are get everyone's ideas about what they want to get out of the group, both in social aspects and STEM aspects. And we want our game night to hopefully start out in August or September, and we'll do more work on that. But lastly, camp is really an interesting place. It has wonderful opportunities, and I really hope that all of you take advantage of that and get the most out of it the way that Sydney and I did. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nayeli and Sydney. That's a really great introduction. We're taking a little bit of a sidestep now, and we're looking at a program which applies to high school girls, and it's called SpeechTrek, and I'd like to introduce our SpeechTrek director, who is Sharon Corbett Parry. And Sharon, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Lorraine. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sharon Corbett Parry, and I'm not going to speak about my background or my career path, but I will echo something that Linda Quinby said earlier. I was a thespian in high school and beyond, and started out pursuing an acting career. But having that theater, drama, and speech experience early on in high school has served me my entire life. So if you're uncomfortable speaking in public, I highly encourage taking a few speech classes so that you feel comfortable in job interviews and presenting yourself as you pursue your careers. So I'm excited to talk about SpeechTrek because it's such an important program. What is SpeechTrek? It's a California AEUW project for high school students. And the mission of SpeechTrek is to promote understanding and communication